How's it going, guys? Welcome to SHOT Show 2020. We are at the Medford booth, sitting down with Greg Medford. How's it going?
What's up? The show's going. That's how it's going. My back is barking and my feet are howling.
It's about that time of day. And we're going to look at some new Medfords, so let's go.
All right. So let's start out with a knife that we put together for Customs and Border Patrol. I don't even know what this thing's called yet at this point. So this would be our, like, man, I can't believe it. I don't even know it. Amy! Look at my wife. She knows what this stuff's. Amy, are you here? What is this thing called?
The UDT?
Is it UDT1? Absolutely. Well, there you go, you guys. You heard it first. A world premiere announcement. This is the UDT1.
This is why we love SHOT Show. Everything's fresh. You know what I mean?
It is
Everything's
fresh. Like, it's so new. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what this product's called. So I developed it originally for Customs and Border Patrol potential purchase. And then I ended up getting it to a SEAL graduating class, and the guys all loved it, and I've been making them for that type of crowd since then. So here it is. It's world premiere. It comes with a Kydex sheath. It's got our cool titanium branding on it, badging on it with a Tech Lock belt clasp, and just a lovely little small real estate. A lot of guys are this flips 90 degrees on the spacing of this. This clip can flip 90 degrees, and they're wearing it horizontal, small the back. Some guys take this off and they just appendix carry it. Yeah. So really nice little, almost a little too big to be a neck knife. Handle's nice and robust on it. Really good poke and slashing knife.
Yeah, that's what I would say is and you get a lot of blade real estate on this thing, which is great. So like you were saying, it's a smaller, it's like a medium-sized carry, but a larger-sized blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. Cool.
That's kind of my thing. A lot of guys say, what's your design aesthetic? And a lot of times, quite frankly, when I look at it in whole and I just get away from all the emotions, we put a lot of blade into our knives.
Yep.
If you look at the blade to handle ratio, and you just do a silhouette and do a percentage, I think there's a magic number.
Yeah.
So the next thing we did a couple of plays on existing models. So for instance, we have had our Slim Midi for quite some time. This has been around and reviewed pretty extensively. Been a really successful knife for us. And we've had a lot of people saying, hey man, I want a Tonto of it. So we came up with a Tonto version. So this is a Tonto version of the Slim Midi. Surprisingly, with the amount of mass that's out at the tip, it doesn't seem like much, but it's got a really different feel to it, and I really like it. So for somebody that is into, or they say, oh, Medford makes all those big knives, well, they haven't looked in a long time. What are you carrying in your pocket right now?
Right now, I've got, I think I got an SBR.
Let me see, who makes that?
ProTech.
So there's a ProTech knife. Which one's thicker?
Yeah, the ProTech, yeah.
I mean, I haven't even looked. I can tell you almost everything's thicker.
Yeah.
When you go to 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch, it's almost the thinnest thing on the market, and it's a full size. When you open this up, let me see that guy just for a sec, because it's a known quantity.
Yeah.
And obviously this is a little knife.
It is.
This knife looks like a giant, and in my hand, it's just a full-size knife, but it is in an imprint in the pocket that is considerably smaller than almost anything I see out there. No disrespect to those guys at all.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. Yeah, and I think that's definitely the case. And when you talk about things that kind of Medford's known for, a lot of blade, right? Even with this knife, a lot of blade. And then people I think a bigger knife, but you've come out with a lot of slim, really, really pocket friendly for those EDC guys. You know what I mean?
Well, listen, let's say you start a business, and the first thing you come up with, like, well, what am I going to make? I'm going to make truck tires.
Yeah.
Okay. And someone says, well, I'll take 1 million of them, and you go. So you go to making 1 million of them and say, well, I could make. I don't like that guy. He only makes truck tires.
Right.
Well, I sold 1 million of them. And then when that sale run, when those run out, you go, okay, well, now I'll start making some others. Oh, well, look at you. You all start making other things. You go, well, I've been busy making the big truck tires I sold. That's kind of like me. I made these big knives, and the knife world went kind of nutty for them.
They were great, and they are great knives.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of them, but as my market awareness has expanded to more and more people, our fan base has increased. I wanted to bring other offerings to the table.
Totally.
And for me, I don't want to keep making big knives. I like diversity. I've got autos. I've got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you got all sorts of awesome stuff.
So let's jump into the next couple things. Let's go to a brand new model, since I have already shown you a spin on an older model. Okay? So Let's go to something that looks really familiar, but it's totally new. So this is our Praetorian Slim. Now this is the Swift silhouette, our Praetorian Swift, done in the Slim Midi configuration. So 1/8" slabs and done as a frame lock in case you're not allowed to have an auto where you're at, or you just like the mechanical design of a frame lock better than an auto or button lock.
Yeah.
So this is a lovely knife that again gets you a full knife in your hand and gets you a knife that disappears in the pocket with a super user-friendly titanium clip. And that's an all titanium knife, and it's available in Tanto and Drop Point. Same knife. Let me flip this around so you get a good look at it. Thank you. So, about the same size. I remember when I first came out with the Praetorian and the Marauder, they were these big, you know, bigger than life knives. Yeah. And so now I've come out with their cousins, their lineage. So we've got them both competing bigger than, you know, not bigger than life.
Yeah.
Pocket friendly sized, but with these really svelte dimensions.
I'll tell you, when I first started at Blade HQ, literally my first week at Blade HQ, the first thing I did is I'd never touched a Praetorian before. And I went and pulled a Praetorian off the shelf, and I had it sit at my desk for like a good week. And I was just like, oh, I really like this thing.
You're just saying that because I'm here.
No, it is the truth. That's a known story. Known
All
story.
Right, fair enough. The other thing unique about this knife that I did, since it's a little tiny knife and a lot of my knives have got breakers on them, I didn't want somebody's hand, if I did a traditional back pommel breaker, to have their hand already in the glass. What I've noticed breaking lots of windows and shooting videos of people breaking windows, people have a tendency to use, if you've got a good breaker, they use way too much force to break the window. So they jam their arms in, and we end up getting lots of cuts on the arms if it's going to break. So what I did is I snuck the breaker up here onto the top shoulder of the knife. Now when you open the knife, it disappears. You don't know it's there. When the knife's closed, this is really cool. This is your break right here, and it'll stop you from jamming your hand. This will break a window.
Right.
That's all it takes.
The first time you break it, you think you have to swing at that thing, but you don't have to. Yeah,
it's like hitting a home run. You know, you're like, I can't believe that was a home run. You like hit the right spot, right speed, right time, right place on the bat, and it goes out of the park. Some other time you wham it, and it's you know halfway. It's the same thing with this. So this little protrusion, we call it a shoulder breaker. And because it's up on this shoulder where the back of the blade turns, the spine turns into the lock face. And it's a nice knocka, as Terry Garr would say in Young Frankenstein. Let's go to another completely new knife design. It's called our Nosferatu. Taken from a 1922 German film about Dracula.
I think the best Dracula film. My opinion, I think that's the best.
The fact that you've seen it, you get millennial points just for that, okay? So I don't know how old you are. Are you millennial age?
There we go, probably. I probably fall in that range.
So this is our Nosferatu. I called it that because as I first sketched it up, I thought it had a shape of a coffin. And then, what do I want to make with it? I couldn't decide if I wanted to make a flipper or an automatic, so I did both. The automatic that I did, I decided I wanted to do something lethal looking. So I went with a dagger style blade. I wanted to do something kind of asymmetrical and fun. And it kind of reminds me of those long fangs in the Nosferatu, which is why I called it the Nosferatu. So you got this coffin shaped handle with this fang looking blade that comes out. I think it's got a particularly menacing kind of look and feel to it. It's got a safety, of course. Which I've been kind of digging. If you don't like it, don't use it. If you like it, use it. I mean, I gotta tell you, I actually use it. It allows me to throw the knife in any pocket I want. I don't worry about the thing popping open on me.
You know where I was sold on this a little while back, so I travel by motorcycle, and when I'm traveling by motorcycle, I sleep on the side of the road, right?
You're a hobo.
Yeah, I'm a hobo. And I was traveling with an auto, and it had a lock, and I keep the pocket knife in my jeans. I just sleep in my jeans when I'm on the road, right?
Yeah.
And it's nice to have a pocket knife nearby. Sometimes you don't know where you're at, you don't know who's around. And it was really nice to have that lock on the knife, because then I didn't have to think about it. I just go to sleep, it was locked, we're good, you know?
Everyone's like, I don't need a lock, I don't need this. Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like, I don't believe in having a gun with 5 safeties on it. I believe you keep your finger off the trigger. But when I look at this knife, I was like, God, if that comes open in the pocket, I was like, you know. And then I was carrying, I was like, oh, am I gonna? And so it actually for a guy that's not very safety oriented.
On this one, you were pretty stoked.
Yeah, I was like, I would definitely want it on there. You're like, they say there's two ways people look at the world, right? Safety and freedom.
Right. Yeah,
Americans.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those guys that's like totally addicted to freedom, not safety. And I'm one of those, like, I come home, there's like helmets new in the box for my kids riding their bicycles because my kids ride around without bike helmets.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my God. But I actually like having the safety on this. We went with a fully milled out sculpted clip on the back. I just think there's nothing not sexy or kind of dangerous looking about this knife. I really like it. So I hope people dig it. It's super fast because there's so little mass out at the end, and you've got, obviously one side's got to be dull so you don't cut yourself in the pocket, but it's a ripping little auto.
Yeah.
Now, I took the same exact knife and I put a sheepsfoot blade in it, and it's on bearings. So for those of you who know that I'm not in love with bearings, you'll say, what did he do? Did he betray himself? No, I wanted the auto on bearings. This is, with this style of knife, with that fine point, it's not going to be a big heavy use prying style of knife. And I didn't want to make two versions of the handle. So making one mechanism, this one ended up getting bearings. Just, it was lucky.
Yeah.
So what's nice about bearings, for you guys that are really into the little flipper affectation, is it flips like crazy. It flips like flipper nerds want it to flip.
Right.
So you flip it, tell me what you think.
It is. It's really smooth.
It's
really smooth.
Now, do I like that? The answer is, as a knife tool using man, I'm not a fan.
Right.
Because...
Yeah, and you've said this, well, we've said that at SHOT Show, we've talked about that, and yeah, so tell us why.
Well, because when you go to close it, if you're not completely free and clear, it will come around and bite the shit out of you. And that's the thing, I'm always like, it's not an emergency to put your knife away.
Right. Well, and especially when you're looking at a knife that has a folder with so much blade stock, yeah, you got to be careful closing that thing.
It'll come around and bite you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I recommend, this gives you one-hand freedom, and if you're really, you practice a little bit, it's one-hand return, of course, but what I'd recommend is two-hand control the return, because it's never an emergency to put your knife away.
Right. You want to get it out fast, you can just put it away at whatever speed.
So we've got the Sheepsfoot Nosferatu and the Dagger Auto Nosferatu. One's a flipper, one's an auto. I think it's a sexy, unique look in the marketplace. Cool knife. Moving on to a twist on an existing product. Last year we launched the Praetorian Swift. This year we launched the Praetorian Swift. So here's the standard Swift, and here's the Swift in drop point. So I brought two completely new models, and I brought two newly rebladed models.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's kind of the lineup. If you look at my stuff this year, what you'll see is some Tonto drop point combo, sheepsfoot and dagger, and then, when you, and so can I give you a little behind the scenes thinking?
Yeah, please do.
So when a maker makes a new knife, they put all this money into the tooling and into the spool up and advertising and marketing and the letting people know about the product. If this is the only way you launch a product, it has a life, it has a trajectory, and that trajectory settles.
Yeah.
And so what we're trying to do as a company, as a maker, all makers should be thinking, if they're not, they should be thinking like this. What can I do to extend the life of the knife? So for instance, I remember, what's the buck knife with the brass bolsters and the rosewood? Is that the buck 110?
110, yep.
So I had a buck 110 when I was a kid. First pocket knife, or second pocket knife I ever had.
Yeah.
And that knife has found life. It's a marquee American knife. It's found a life in its own. I think the Praetorian may end up being a marquee knife, if I could be, not like, from no place of ego. If I don't fuck it up and I'm just a good business guy, I think it has life into the future.
Yeah, it definitely has a very dedicated cult following, you know what I mean? People love that knife.
And it's got a look where it's hard to have unique style in a 4 million year old tool, right?
You see that and you're like, that's a Medford, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're always trying to, no matter what the product is, if you look at Buck, they haven't been making it one way. They've made lots and lots of versions of it over the years, and it gives it life to appeal to a broader group. I even saw it the other day, they've done a tactical version of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, should have done that 10 years ago, you know what I mean? Right. So what I do with my products is I will launch what I think is my sexy ideal that I'm in the mood for at the moment. and then I'll add, like, as it's year in, and what are you going to do next year? I'll add a new twist on it.
Yeah.
And then I've got tooling for this, but it's this may be a narrow appeal, like an automatic full-on dagger that's kind of nasty looking.
Yeah.
But may have a bigger appeal for tool users, and this might seduce some of the guys who think that all my stuff's a little too stiff.
Right.
And then I launched this knife, which does really well, and I add the twist of a drop point for guys who maybe want a skin or want like a drop point single bevel. Same thing with here. So this is adding life and longevity and strength to a little part within my offering.
Yeah.
Each one of these blades is a spoke to my wheel of my company, and how can I make it stronger? It's by adding some more variety to appeal to more people, give a guy more options. And I really like this knife, but I like Tontos. And we have that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I really like this, but I really like drop point. Yeah, we got that.
Yeah.
I really like this, but it's too. I need something more usable.
There you go.
That's the idea. Like everybody, we're trying to. How can we, without compromising our integrity or our style or our ethos or our aesthetic, how can we please the most amount of people?
Yeah. And I think you mentioned was it truck tires, right?
Yep.
Making truck tires, like you can make Formula One tires, as we can see, right? But still, when they see it, they know it's a Medford, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a trick. That's something I think that you're hitting really strong. Is it's a Medford, but it kind of like hits a bunch of different people, right?
Well, here's what's fascinating to me. This is 10 years for us now here, and this is the biggest show we've ever had, like significantly.
Cool.
And we punch above our weight. We're not one of the little guys, but we're not one of the big five either. But we're one of the tweeners. Anthony at Microtech is a tweener, I think. He's not one of the big guys, but he's an elephant in the living room.
For sure.
And I think we're another budding elephant in the living room, because this isn't aging. This is getting better, and the response is getting more powerful, and our partnerships are becoming stronger. And I think what you see when you walk through this entire building, this is one of the most unique knife spots in the place. We're not all wearing black with all this black trying to do this thing, or we're not. I don't think it's got a big corporate feel. I think it's got a real relaxing, sophisticated, calm aesthetic to it. And then our knives have got a lot of. They're unique in the market space. Like you take any one of my knives and lay it down on a table of knives, you go, oh, that one's, pick out where's Waldo?
Where's
Medford?
Immediately know, exactly.
Yeah.
You immediately see the Medford. And that's something that's been great. I mean, obviously we've come to SHOT Show, we've been doing videos for a while, and it's neat every year to kind of see these little evolutions. But again, seeing that thumbprint, it's Medford.
Yeah. And it's fun for me, I get to look at my line and see how I've changed. Because you step back and you go, who would have thought the guy that made the Praetorian tie would make that?
Right.
Or make this guy. It's fun to see the evolution.
Cool, right on. Well, thanks so much for showing us what you have and for giving us a little insight into what you're thinking.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. And thank you guys for following along. Make sure to check out our SHOT Show 2020 playlist here on YouTube. We're bringing you all the hot stuff every day. SHOT Show. See you on the next one.
And Greg Medford, Medford Knife, I'm out!